This next song was inspired by the lovely Uncanny Megan. Dun 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 dun. Sometime some slime is hitting on his chick, but JAYAIN ain't playing. You're gonna suck his dick if you've got blonde hair and blue eyes too. He's gonna come in you toss pot. Super JAYAIN's gonna nut a lot when he's spraying. And no, he doesn't fail once he's inside. And you'll be begging for a ride toss pot. Super JAYAIN, if he wants a root, he ain't paying. If Ellie Goulding wants to take a root, Jay will slide inside and shoot toss pot. Super JAYAIN likes to fuck a lot, what I'm saying. Toss pot, yeah.
Keeping it PG-13 as always, Denny. Another good song. Good song.
These stories that I tell, all right, like I've said before, they're part reality, part over-exaggerated, but the one part that is not over-exaggerated is Jay's love for Ellie Goulding.
Oh, that's right, yeah. She's not blonde hair, blue eyes, though. She's blonde hair, brown eyes, but that's okay. I forgive her. I forgive her.
She's you love her perfect imperfections.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, probably make her put contacts on.
Would you?
Well, that's a possibility, you know. You can't say no to that.
Hey, yeah, we spiced up your sex life. So, joining me, of course, folks, as usual, Super J, and then, of course, we have a special. When I say special, I mean that in a let me pat you on the head and kind of special.
Short bus.
That I wasn't gonna say it, but Mike from LaughingStock Media. Hello, Mike.
Hey guys, it's Mike here from LaughingStock Media.
And don't forget to subscribe.
All right, so we're talking about Dragon Ball. Let's talk Dragon Ball. And the topic I wanted to talk about was actually submitted to me a few months ago from a buddy of mine, MC Headcase. And he just put out his debut album, Lunatic Fringe, a self-portrait. If you're into hip-hop, he is the greatest white rapper to ever touch a mic. I'm not kidding either. I'm being dead serious. I will put a link in the description below so you can go download the album or purchase it. Trust me, folks, it's really, really good. I'm not saying that he's my friend. You know, I would not promote his album. I would just say, hey, inspired by Headcase, if I didn't think the album was good. There's psychology here. But he asked me, he said, why don't you do a video about the end of Dragon Ball? Like, talk about the pros and cons and kind of give our opinions on the end of Dragon Ball. And when I say the end of Dragon Ball, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about the end of the Dragon Ball manga, which correlates to the end of Dragon Ball Z, and I want to talk about the end of Dragon Ball GT. Now, I don't want to get too in-depth as to what happened at the end of GT, because that might be a topic for a future video, because there's a lot of stuff that could be talked about, and I want to get more people on for that, because that ending of GT can be analyzed up and down. Let's talk about the ending of Dragon Ball, the manga, aka the end of Dragon Ball Z. And for those who don't remember, the end of Dragon Ball, because a lot of people, I guess, forgot, is not when Kid Buu dies. Dragon Ball ends after the 10-year time skip in the 28th Tenkaichi Budokai, when Goku and the rest of the gang shows up, and Goku's anticipating the arrival of the reincarnation of Majin Buu, which is Oob. Now, for those who don't remember the original ending, Oob and Goku fight. Goku, tries to convince Oob that he's very powerful and wants him to be the defender of Earth. Then they go train, and they fly off, and that's the ending. Mike, you have been very critical of this ending in the past. And is it because you're a Gohan fan and you wanted that to be the ending?
I mean, in many ways, I do obviously feel that perhaps a superior ending to the series would have been at the end of the Cell games, because Goku had passed the torch. He had put over Gohan, and so did Cell, like a top heel should do. And, it was basically like perfect. Someone else was taking up the mantle. It was the new generation. I mean, maybe they could have moved on with a different series where Gohan was the Goku. But I mean, I feel like that in many ways would have been a great, story to finally end it on, since that was like the final, like last foes of Goku to show up and try and beat him, and he was going to leave. Now, when it comes to the Buu saga, I still love the Buu saga. I love Dragon Ball in general, so anything that they add to it is something that I'm bound to at least like or tolerate. And when it comes to the Oob ending, I mean, there's pros and cons. Now, in the Kanzenban version of that, I do like it because Goku does, give him the Kinto-un. He does like fly off in it, and he pictures himself as a kid.
Hold on, the Kinto-un was in the new 2004 ending, which I was going to get to, but go ahead, because there's two endings to the manga. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I mean, just in general, I like it because it really symbolizes the passing of the torch. But yeah, I mean, I like it in some ways because he's training the next person. But at the same time, it's like he has his sons there. He has other people there who could take over for him instead. That he was just training Goten before the tournament happened, and then it's just like he'll train this one kid who's like this the reincarnation of Boo. It is very strange that would have happened at all. And now with Super and other things, it kind of is throwing that out of whack in some ways. But I mean, I feel like I don't think it was something that I hate. I like it to a degree, but I feel like it could have been better.
Okay, and that's fair. And to clarify kind of what Mike was talking about, I'm going to go to Jay here about this very thing. The original ending of Dragon Ball manga, they fly off together, and that's it. And so what happened was, I believe it was in 2004, 2005. My years may be wrong, but Toriyama basically rewrote the ending. Now, he didn't change the ending, but he added a couple of extra, like he slightly changed it. It doesn't change the integrity of the story, but what happens is, in the alternate ending, is that, like you said, Mike, Goku actually calls upon Kinto-un, which is Nimbus, the flying Nimbus cloud, which we had not seen for quite some time. Actually, I think the last time we actually saw it was way back in the Vegeta saga. I mean, it had been a while. And,
yeah,
we're seeing it here for the first time in a while. I mean, of course, if you want to count, like, the intro to, like, We Got a Power where Goku... I mean, Gohan uses it. So I guess Gohan using it does count, too. Why not? Gohan does use it. And then what happens is Vegeta has an extra line where he says, one day I will surpass you, or something like that. I forget the actual word-by-word verbiage. So, Jay, your thoughts on the Dragon Ball manga ending as well as the redone ending with Vegeta's line? Because Vegeta's your favorite character, so when it's a Vegeta topic, you're the guy to ask. What do you think about the ending? Do you like it? Your thoughts.
I mean, it doesn't bother me too much either way. He has a line with Goku before he takes off with Oob on the Kinto, and he says something along the lines of, we'll fight one day and we'll need a whole planet. That was out of the dub. I can't remember what he says in Japanese or manga, but he's got a line in both. I feel like Dragon Ball is just one of those things. The longer it goes on, it's I'm just happy to have more Dragon Ball. But if I could point where I would like it to finish, there's really multiple points. You could argue it could have ended in Dragon Ball, on Planet Namek, in the Cell arc. There's like 4 different ideal spots to end the story, but obviously it was a popular show and it just kept going, or kept popular manga series, so it just kept getting written. And I feel like although there's multiple points to finish the series, like Mike pointed out, the Gohan part could have been a good point to end it because Gohan's had the torch passed down to him. Vegeta doesn't want to fight anymore because Goku's dead. So there's different points in the series where you really could end it, and it would be a satisfying story and a satisfying conclusion, well, at least for some people. But I feel like with the Kanzenban rewriting in 2004, when Toriyama did that, it now fits Vegeta's dynamic more for Super, because in Super he does want to surpass Goku again, and he seems to be going backwards almost in some ways. If you take his character development from GT, and we're not going to go into GT obviously, but if you do take how he was developed in GT, it was different. He'd given up on surpassing Goku. He just wanted to better himself. And at the end of Z, with that line that he says in the rewritten ending, it kind of suits his character in Super a little bit more, because obviously in Super, he's going through the exact same thing he was going through in the Artificial Human arc, in the Buu arc. He wants to be better than Goku. So it really depends on where the story wants to end for you. But if I could pick it, I'm kind of biased because I just love Dragon Ball. So I'm going to just keep saying, as long as the content is decent, keep giving me more Dragon Ball. I'm happy with any of the endings that, anyone says, end it in the Freezer arc, I'd be like, cool. Someone says, end it in the Cell arc, I'd be like, cool. Well, I don't really have a preference.
I remember you once said that you actually, and I don't know if this is your Vegeta fan or not, that you actually would have liked it if Vegeta killing himself and killing off Buu was the ending. I remember you said that once.
No, I don't think that would be a good ending to the whole arc in general. I think that would close Vegeta's character out quite well if he sacrificed himself and ended Buu. And I was saying to Mike earlier off air, they could have done something completely different with that arc. They could have elaborated on the fact that Babidi is a warlock. He's Madoshi Babidi, so he's a warlock. He could have, they could have come up with a similar concept, or before the movie Wrath of the Dragon, they could have used they could have made it so Babidi summoned Hirudegan and made a whole other story based off that. They could have elaborated on Deborah's character more and given Gohan and Deborah more of a rivalry, because there was one established when they fought somewhat. They wanted to fight each other again. So they could have done a lot of different things with that arc. And they could have still had Vegeta kill Buu, because Vegeta was pretty much stating to Goku, according to Kaioshin, this Majin Buu may seem fearsome, but by the standard or the bar that we've set, he's nothing. And obviously that wasn't true, because he kept getting stronger and stronger. But I felt like they could have ended Majin Buu's character there, and they could have just come up with some different ideas to end that arc. That's how I see it, though.
So you do like the endings. In the past, I remember Mike has said that he thinks that the Dragon Ball ending, the Dragon Ball Z ending, whatever, is too much like every other shonen ending. Like, what do you mean by that, Mike?
Yeah. Well, basically, when you watch enough animes, this kind of starts to reoccur over and over again, especially in shonen, but this, even in non-shonen, it still kind of does this, where it's always the good guy rides off into the distance. He always flies away and just leaves and abandons everyone. Goku does that at the end of Z, and, all three so far that we've seen, like, in terms of endings, in terms of series, and then this happens in like so many other stories. Even Yu-Gi-Oh! Or other animes like that I can name, but I don't want to spoil for a lot of people out there. But the point is that almost every anime, it seems like, that I have watched, the hero rides off into the distance, is just like, hey, all my friends and family who I loved and I was supporting, bye-bye, and he just leaves. Like, that's in every single anime.
Well,
so
that's taken from the old, like, gunslinger riding off into the sunset. The difference is that in anime, they have families, the gunslingers don't, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like something I've always kind of disliked, because it happens in everything, and it even happens in Dragon Ball. And I honestly feel like Dragon Ball is something that really transcends all other animes and mangas, to the point where it's just something like completely separate from all of them, because of like what it has achieved and what it has, become. And I wish that it was something more, like an ending that really ties up all the ends, that really, there's a settle, they're all settled and happy, and then, maybe passing the torch to a new generation, or just, hanging around, like in the ending of He's Always Late, the filler episode.
Yeah, I remember you said in the past that your favorite ending would have been right there when he was late to the party because of the birds, that filler.
Yeah, I mean, I love stuff like that, so I feel like that would have been great, because they would have tied up all the loose ends. Everyone's happy and hanging out together, basically as an extended family, and rather than just Goku flying off, and maybe I'll see you again, maybe I won't. It's just like, you have instant transmission, Goku. There's no reason for you to actually leave.
I don't know what instant transmission is. Jay, do you know what that is?
Yeah, that instantaneous movement thingy, majiggy. Yeah,
I thought that was something wrong with Mike's car or some shit, bro. Is your transmission okay? I don't know.
I think he was talking about his flux capacitor or something.
Oh, right. It is 2015. No, but I was so Jay. Ideally, okay, let's say you were in charge of Dragon Ball, and let's say Kid Buu is dead. We're picking it up right there. How would you end the series? What would you have that? Now, one of the popular theories I've heard, which is actually in Dragon Ball Heroes timeline, is that they end the series, and I think this would have been awesome, with Goku and Vegeta fighting in space, and then there's like a supernova, and that's the last we see of them. And if you really think about it, that's very reminiscent of the Rocky 5 ending. I'm sorry, the Rocky 3 ending, which to me is one of my favorite endings. I think it would have been beautiful, bro, if Goku and Vegeta went separately, like by themselves, and they did the same thing that they did in Rocky 3. You're gonna ring the bell? Ding, ding. And then they're about to throw a punch at each other, and they both throw a punch at each other, and then that's where the show ends, and you play the credits. I think that would have been a much better ending. What do you think?
It would have been okay. I just feel like to have a decent ending to a series, you need to include all of the supporting cast as well. You can't just include Goku and Vegeta. To have a satisfying ending for me, you would have to, have, like, I agree with Mike somewhat. You could have everyone together and just sharing moments together, and like just nice slice of life stuff is a good way to end the series, because the whole series of Dragon Ball is predominantly about fighting and getting stronger. And it would just be nice and different if they finished the saga or the show in just a slightly different manner. Because Dragon Ball to me is not just about fighting and all that sort of stuff. It has, if you watch it from start to finish, from the start of Dragon Ball, it has so many different themes to it. And I feel like incorporating some of those different themes into an ending rather than just fighting is very important. So I would definitely have something similar to what Mike said, where everyone's at a party together and they're just enjoying themselves and having a good time. Could see like everyone dancing and having a good time. Like even in that filler episode where Vegeta was standing up against the wall, bopping his head, that made me laugh. It's just one of those things. I prefer a nice ending with the whole supporting cast involved rather than just one character flying off into the sunset, sort of thing.
And definitely leave your comments below, folks. I want to know what you think the ideal Dragon Ball ending is and what you think about the actual ending to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball manga, Dragon Ball Z, the anime. Last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is GT. I don't want to delve into, speculation about what happened. I don't want to delve into, that's another video. We're going to save that for another conversation. But I'm going to start with Mike and then go to Jay. Do you like that ending? It's basically the Harry Potter ending. 100 years go by. It's Goku and Vegeta's legacy. They're going to fight in a tournament, and then Goku appears. I mean, it pretty much is like, I don't want to say cliche, but it's been done before. I like it, personally. I do enjoy it, even though there's a lot of unanswered questions. It does seem a little bit like, kind of cliche. It's like a cliche of a cliche. Like, okay, was that really him or was that like a spirit? Kind of like with the Andy Kaufman movie. So Mike, your thoughts on the GT ending? Do you think it's a good ending or not?
I never really liked it, to be honest. And to tell the truth, it's mostly because it's just like Goku shows up for no reason. Everyone's dead. He leaves the end. Like, why is Goku even there? He just shows up and it's like, oh, look, these two, descendants of us are fighting. Oh, okay. Then he leaves and it's the end. It's like, obviously that's the very ending part. There is the part where Goku's flying away and Pan is following him. Now, honestly, Pan was too forced down people's throats like John Cena in GT. So it would have been nice if Vegeta or, his children followed him away rather than just Pan. Because Pan, in my opinion, really didn't earn that ending, like to actually be included with Goku when he's going away. Like she was a big part of GT, but not of the entire Dragon Ball franchise up to that point. Like there's characters that are more prevalent. It's nice when Goku says goodbye to Piccolo, and we don't even know where Goku's going. Why would he even go to hell to say goodbye? Like, there's just like little things that I kind of find issue with, but I just don't like the fact that it's 100 years later. Everyone's just like pretty much said, okay, they're all dead, and Goku's not, and it's like the end. I just don't like that because it's just like let's kill everyone off and just have Goku like fly away and it's the end. I just never liked that aspect of it. I'd rather it be like everyone's together in solidarity rather than having that. And I know that there was the movie in Hero's Legacy, which took place right before that, where Goku shows up to help out Goku Jr., but I just never really felt that sort of attachment to the characters that they show in the end of the series as I did, the characters in the end of, Z. So I just never really enjoyed that ending, to be honest.
Jay, what do you think about the GT ending?
I think it's a missed opportunity. There's some nice elements to it with Goku going off with Shenlong and coming back years later, and again, being a biased Vegeta fan sometimes, I'm just going to say him saying, I'm leaving the Earth in your hands. That was a nice moment, but there's just a missed opportunity again because it just felt like it was all about Goku. It did summarize the series quite well with that flashback about Goku growing up and spending time with all the people he'd met on his journey along the way as he's walking through the crowd, but it ultimately just felt empty and lacking. Just when they end the series, they really need to include the supporting cast for it to feel like a nice, happy ending. This is just for me, because the show is a lot more than just about Goku, and that's one of the underlying themes in the show. It always ends up seeming to be about Goku. And
BLACKENFIST would not agree with you.
Yeah, well, that's the way I see it. It's even though Goku's the main character, the show's not always about him. There's a lot of different supporting characters in the show, and I feel like they need a bit of limelight and a bit of so it's like Super, for example. We're not talking about the ending here, but we're just saying, like, in general, the best parts of Super so far, I think we can all agree, is the comedic moments between the characters and the nice slice of life moments.
Yes,
and that's the way the series should end, in that similar kind of comedic, enjoyable, like relaxing manner where they're all sharing like nice moments together. That's just the way I see the series ending. So any ending where Goku flies off into the distance, I just feel like it's a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and I want to expand just real quick on what Jay was saying. The thing is, like, the ending obviously is going to come after the climax of a fight. And as we know, and as we've said thus far, Dragon Ball is not just about the fights. It is about the characters. And, at this point in time, we're watching Dragon Ball because of the characters, not just because of cool fights and transformations. Although I know certain fans might like that,
Well, there's that
but-
division line, which me and Juan talked about in our interview. Check that out, folks, on the channel. Me and BLACKENFIST talk about those kind of fans.
And absolutely. But, the thing is, when the climax of a fight is over, we need a climax of a series for those characters. So I feel like obviously ending with a fight or ending with someone going off the train is not really adequate because, it's not a full resolution for the characters that we've grown to love over the course of 3 series at this point, 4 even. So I just feel like it has to be that slice of life, he's always late or something along those lines where, these characters are just hanging out. It's like, if anything comes, we'll be together to combat it. And that's the end. You know what I mean? Not just like, okay, I'm going to go train with this random Indian kid I met, today.
I like how you just assume he's Indian. That's very racist.
Whatever he
is. shout out to Hail Zeon.
Hell yeah.
It's not as racist as Toriyama when he drew Nam or Killa.
Well, it's not as racist as the entire Phantom Menace movie, bro. That's the fucking. That might be the most racist movie I've ever seen. Is it legal? A Jedi. What do you know, man? They really. No, but all right. Well, let's take it to the comment section then, folks. What's the most racist Star? No. What is your opinion on the Dragon Ball ending? And somebody was complaining last week about the fact that I have a thumbnail for these videos that says Talk Dragon Ball, and it just has like me and my old name, epitome of geekdom, with Jay. I've got a new thumbnail now, folks, so the videos are going to look different. It's going to be a new Talk Dragon Ball picture. Of course, when we do the All-Star ones, it'll be different. But
Dragon Ball Super is a new opportunity for them to make a good ending for the series, so let's hope that they execute it properly.
Now, we already talked about that. Do you think now at this point they're going to go past the ending of Z?
No, I don't. No.
I don't either. What do you think?
I've said that from day dot. I've said from day one, no, they're not. But that remains to be seen. But I think they will not go past the ending of Z. No.
Honestly, I hope so. I just feel like at this point, it's just like they're establishing so many contradictory things. It doesn't make any sense for them not to try and do that. And I know that Jay's made great arguments to why they think, GT is still profitable and this and that. And as long as they just say, oh, it's an alternate thing, just like movies, we know movies don't fit into the timeline or anything at all. So and they still profit off of those. So I just feel like in the end, they might go past it. I feel like there's too much time that they're constricting them within. We already know the ending. And even though Super is a fun ride thus far, eventually we got to get past this fact that we know what happens at the end, and we got to go past it. And I don't know. I feel like there's too much like that. There's missed opportunities with the original ending of Dragon Ball that they might want to, try and correct.
Yeah, I also will add to what Mike just said. If they do go past the ending of Z, all well and good, but I feel like if they're going to start incorporating alternate universe stuff, which they already have with the series, obviously, then GT should just be one of those alternate. If it is reaching the same point in the timeline, you know what I mean? Like 20 years, like we're talking 5 years in the Japanese dub, 10 years after the end of Z in the English dub.
Well, that's not real.
Yeah, if they are reaching that if they are reaching that time period in Super, then sure, I think they should incorporate GT as one of the alternate universes. I just feel like that would be the right thing to do by the franchise.
And Broly.
Oh, obviously, Broly.
Of course. All right. All right, folks. Well, give us your thoughts below. Thanks for checking out the conversation. And, of course, definitely let us know your thoughts. And check out LaughingStock Media and check out Super Jan. I really want you guys to check out Super Jan's channel. I think a lot of y'all have been sleeping on it. Just really good stuff. He's got a video up about Majin Buu forms that you need to watch. You need to pay attention to what this guy says, all right? He's legit. So go fucking watch his videos, all right? Watch him now. Do it now.
Go, do it now.
Go, do it now. Get out of here.
And as for Mike, I mean, he's always doing something unique. So you're the thing about LaughingStock Media is you're gonna get stuff that you're not gonna get anywhere else. Literally, like everybody else does the super reviews, and Mike does stuff that nobody else does. So that's the most important thing, if you ask me.
Yeah, I like to mix it up. So if you guys are into a lot of variety, please check me out down below in the description.
I'll check you out.
Yeah, I love checking him out. I hate seeing her go, but I love watching her leave. Right. I'm out of here. See y'all later. See you later, guys. I'll catch you down the road.